Hello, happy Wednesday. Welcome back. Missed you guys last week. We're on week 10, so we have 10, 11, 12 left. And the week before last, we talked about dining out or really eating anywhere. So let me know in the chat if you had any success with eating anywhere. And that could be like eating at a friend's house. That could be having friends to your house. That could be eating at a restaurant or eating in the cafeteria at the hospital, picking things out at a gas station, picking things out in the airport. When we got to the airport last week, we hadn't eaten lunch, and I knew the girls probably weren't going to. So I went to the little convenience store that's in the airport, and I got them like cheese sticks, nuts, some fruit, and I just built like our own little snack pack basically that made up their lunch, which was perfect. And then the husband and I ate that too. So you can typically find those things in a gas station. Nuts. You can find fruit nowadays, thankfully. But fruit, nuts, cheese, things like that, and kind of build your own lunch. You can build your own lunch out of snacks if you want to. Um, so that was kind of one thing we did to work around getting on an airplane and the craziness of being in an airport. And then just kind of kept those type of snacks on hand for the trip too, which was really helpful if we weren't eating, you know, we were eating at random times. So those type of snacks can help as you go and you travel throughout the summer, having things that work for you and keep you full. All right. So with eating anywhere, we talked about the compounding effect of these few high leverage disciplines that we practice every day versus the few errors in judgment that can be repeated every day. All to say, like, starting your day off on the right foot can really make a big difference. And whether that is getting up and getting a little exercise in, getting a little movement going, or getting up and starting your day with fasting, or getting up and preparing some type of whole food meal, all these things will start to compound as the day goes, because I'm sure you've been here before, you make one bad decision and then you're like, the day's over. And it just starts declining from there. It's like, oh well, I already messed up. But if you flip it and you've done really well, you want to keep doing well. You don't really want to mess up your progress, right? So thinking about that as you start each day, compounding the effects really does like get your mind in the right place, and it keeps you going in the right direction, even if you're on vacation, even if you are off work or if you are working. Different days, different things. Try to start off by doing something positive that works towards your plan so you can compound it, leads you towards the results you're looking for, and long term will bring you more longevity, which is what we're looking for. So here's some high leverage disciplines, just a reminder what we went over 2 weeks ago. Being able to eat anywhere, really, really important to prepare ahead of time. If it's a restaurant, reading that menu before you get there. If you're going to a friend's house, take something with you. If you're going to a party, take something with you that works. Charcuterie is great. Can work almost anywhere. Charcuterie, meat, cheese, fruit, veggies, nuts, all the things. So prioritizing that you need something that works for you on the menu and when you go places. And then prioritizing the protein and the healthy fats when we're looking at the menu, when we're trying to plan our own meals, when we're at a buffet. Think, all right, I need some protein, I need some veggies. That's what we want to look for first, and then try to swap the carbs out if possible. So if you're at a Mexican restaurant, do the taco salad. If you are at a steak restaurant, do fish and veggies or steak and veggies. If you are, where else do we go eat? If you're at a sandwich place, I think I told you about the burger place. Went to a burger place. I threw the burger over a salad, over a side salad. We can make it work if we get creative. And practice makes perfect. So you're going to mess up, and that's totally fine. It's a lifestyle. We just want to go into the meal, especially these more challenging meals, with some type of goal in mind. And then learn something each time you eat out. And it's really a lot easier when you find what you like that works for your plan at a restaurant so that when you return, you don't have to start the whole process over with. It's like finding the groceries that work for you, like finding the right yogurt, finding the right peanut butter, finding the right milk. Once you find what works for you at a restaurant and what you like to take to other people's homes when you're sharing a meal, lean into that and use it. It'll make life a lot simpler. It's just a process at this point of figuring out how to navigate it. And you can do it. There are ways to do it. It is possible to eat out and still eat healthy. You just got to choose the right or the best choice. Choose the best choice. Two good two good choices. Maybe find two good options and then decide between them. All right. We're fasting through the plateaus because we are at week 10 and we may be plateauing at this point. Maybe the excitement has worn off. Fasting sounded great. Doing uh, the dietary lifestyle sounded great 10 weeks ago, but now maybe it's not working out. I'm going to go through a couple things that could be holding you back. I just want you to check in with yourself as we go to see where you are. And something, maybe you are actually doing really well. So I don't want you to mess with anything if you are doing well, really well. If you feel like things are going great, I'm doing a great job, and I am including fat in my coffee and my tea, and I'm still losing weight, fine. Fine with me. And we're all different, right? So just because you do it and you're losing weight doesn't mean that I can do it. You know what I mean? You're not losing weight and you're still adding heavy cream or half and half or almond milk or whatever it may be to your coffee, to your tea. You may consider cutting that out. I am going to talk about a true fast next week. And that is a true fast, taking the fats out of our drinks, because that is technically a training wheel. It's something that helps us to stay fuller longer while we're in a fast. And it also is something that helps us transition off of sugar in our coffee and our tea. It helps to have that fat, to have that flavor. But ultimately, in a true fast, it's just black coffee and it's just black tea or green tea or white tea, whatever color tea you want, as long as there's no fat in it. Because even if you are in a fat burning mode, which is what you're in when you're fasting, your body will start fueling off the fat in the coffee and the tea before it will go back to fueling off the fat in your body. So keep that in mind. Maybe it's the fatty beverages. Is that causing a plateau? Is it not? The more sugar, the more cravings. Natural, artificial sweeteners. This was one of the ones we talked about in the very beginning, and I did tell you that you could stair step it, but have you taken sugar out completely? Yes. Um, Sugar is literally everywhere, and it is hard to avoid, so I get it. And the more we take sugar in, the more we want sugar. So hopefully we're getting these cravings down. Hopefully we're getting the sugar out, because there's really nothing beneficial about sugar except that it tastes good. All right, is this a plateau for you? Is this causing a plateau for you? Is this causing cravings? Is this something that you need to work on? Or are you at a point where you are seeing progress and you're enjoying a sweet here and there? You're enjoying a dessert like once a week. Totally fine. If you found a like that balance of seeing progress and having a little sugar in your life without it sending you downhill, that's totally fine. Let's always keep in mind that life is about balance, and we're not going to pass up on our own birthday cake. I'm not asking you to do that. It's just like the day-to-day sugar that we really want to make sure we're keeping at a level 0 if at all possible. All right, next one is, are you thirsty? So staying hydrated throughout the day to curb cravings. It also helps you stay alert, also helps with headaches. And if you're feeling hungry, are you leaning into the water? Are you making sure that you're hydrated when you're fasting? So when I get to the office, I get my water out immediately. Now, if I didn't have my water bottle next to me, I would be doomed for the day. So, do you have a water bottle? Are you getting it out? Are you grabbing it and drinking it? Or do you need to? Some people have to set an alarm on their phone, like to remind themselves to drink water. Maybe set an alarm on your phone. Maybe put a sticky note on your computer. But either way, when we're fasting, it's so important to stay hydrated and use that water to help you feel full. You're not going to feel like full, but to help keep those the cravings and the hunger at bay. 37% of people mistake thirst for hunger. So drink water, wait 15 minutes, see if the hunger will subside. If water doesn't do it, then maybe the tea will, or the coffee. All right, here's a big one and a hard one. And one of the first things that we try to work on in the beginning is 3 solid meals a day, no snacking. If you're going back into snacking and grazing, I encourage you to go back to 3 meals a day. It's hard. Snacking and grazing is very hard to stop doing. But if we can start back on focusing on 3 meals a day and making sure we're getting what we need in those 3 meals, we're getting enough food to keep us satisfied between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then it will be easier to go back to fasting without needing the snacking and the grazing. So, constantly eating a little food all day long, even heavy cream, if it's heavy cream in your coffee or your tea, it's going to keep your insulin up and keep you in that fat storing mode. So remember that. If there's a certain snack that you like, there are snacks that I like that don't necessarily go with the meal I'm eating. I just put it at the end of the meal. Like, for instance, the other day I had something, I had a meal and I wasn't completely satisfied afterwards. I thought I might still be hungry, so I grabbed like a quarter cup of pecans. You can always do that. You can always add those snacks at the end of a meal so that A, you're making sure you're curbing that craving with the meal versus in between the meal. And then you're still getting the snacks that you like, but you're doing it in a way that's in a moment of time where your insulin is already up because you're eating a meal versus making insulin go up again later because maybe you didn't eat enough at your previous meal, or maybe you didn't get what you wanted. I wanted the nuts and I didn't eat them with my meal. I should have. So you can always do that. You can have the fruit at the end of a meal too. If you're going to have a bite of dessert, have it at the end of the meal. Remember, we talked about eating in order. So having the protein, the fat first. If you're going to eat a carb, eat it last. If you're going to eat something sweet, eat it last. All right, and then eating too late. This one is so hard too. But meals eaten late at night will cause more weight gain. I was just talking to someone today about fasting, and they fast for breakfast and lunch, which is like probably the hardest way to fast, breakfast and lunch, and going the rest of the day through dinner into bedtime without a meal. I haven't actually tried that, but I bet it's hard. But it's actually the better way to fast because you're allowing so much time. Like, think about it. You eat lunch and then you're done, and you're allowing that whole afternoon. Then you go to bed and that whole night into the next morning, really optimal. If you want to try it, you can flip your fasting window and do breakfast and lunch. Maybe try it one time and see what you think. But eating too late. The earlier I eat dinner at like 4:30, y'all. The earlier you can eat dinner, the better. The longer we have at night without food in our system, the better. Our system is slowing down. Our energy needs are slowing down. It takes longer for our food to digest at night. That's why our body holds on to it. Everything's slower at night. All right, and then my last one for you is nuts and dairy. These are things that are included in our whole food plan, but they're also things that we really like cheese and nuts. So it can be easy to overdo them, particularly peanut butter. I had my last, was it y'all? I don't know if it was y'all or my last class. It was like, how about like, I was like, let's stick to like 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And they're like, how about a whole jar? I was like, absolutely not. I hope nobody is eating a whole jar of peanut butter. I I should have gone and calculated the calories that that would be. But nuts, a quarter cup of nuts, highly recommend measuring them out. I'm thinking back to the airport situation. I let my husband pick out his own stuff. He got a trail mix, and it's a trail mix bag. You got to turn, like, the first thing I do, and it might be the nutritionist in me, but the first thing I do is turn the package over to see how many servings are in a package. His trail mix had 4 servings, and he ate the whole thing. Didn't think a thing about it. I think that might be normal for people. Um, that's probably abnormal to turn over the package and look at the serving size. But easy, so easy to overeat on nuts. You're like, these are healthy. I made a good choice. But then you eat 4 times the amount that you're supposed to. And nuts are a quarter cup. You can measure it out, put it in the baggie, put it in a container, whatever it takes. Nut butter is 2 tablespoons. This is really like just not easy to measure because who wants to put peanut butter in a tablespoon and then have to wash it out? So what I do, and I really like this better, I get a scale. Probably also something nobody else in the world will do. I get a scale and then I like measure my peanut butter with the scale. So if I'm putting it on like yogurt or if I'm measuring it out for like apple slices or something like that, I'll just weigh it instead of measure it. So you can always weigh. And I got this cute little scale from Target. It was probably $10. I use it all the time to weigh stuff when I'm trying to portion things out and if I don't want to measure. So, like dairy, for instance, is 4 ounces a day. And a lot of times on dairy, if you turn over the package, it says serving size is 1 ounce. Well, it's really hard to measure, right? You have to weigh it if it's in ounces. So a little scale might be helpful to have because if this is what's holding you back, all you gotta do is measure it out a couple times, and then you're gonna have the visual. You don't have to measure it and weigh it forever. Sometimes I just like to check in with myself, you know? Sometimes you need a little check in. So weigh it out, measure it out, make sure you're not overdoing it on the nuts and the dairy. 4 ounces a day of dairy, though, is pretty good. That's like four slices of cheese, I think. I might need to verify that. I'll look it up in a minute. Okay. Our goals are to consider any plateau traps you might be having go on, mindfully adjust where needed. I'm sure we all have our different vices and things that are holding us up, and then determine if you're seeing a difference. So, for example, you decided, you know what, I'm snacking in between my meals and I should probably stop. And let's see if that makes a difference. So, spend a week really focusing on it and then make sure you're seeing a difference. Or maybe it's the fat in the coffee or tea. I may not see a difference weight wise with removing the fat in coffee or tea, but I do see a difference in how I feel. Not like I'm full of energy all of a sudden, but I'm not as hungry if I don't put the fat in my coffee or tea. Because my digestive system isn't starting at all when you put in black coffee or black tea. It is starting up a little bit when you put that fat in, and then like in a few hours it probably will make you hungry because your digestive system has started. So try it if you're ready to take it out, see if there's a difference. I truly felt less hungry without it, even though that's kind of contradictory because it's supposed to keep you full, but it does for a little while. But then once your digestive system has started, it will be like, okay, hey, I need food actually. So determine if there is a difference. Determine if you can tell a difference in taking the sugar out, taking the nuts, the dairy, making sure you're taking those in proper portions. And then let me pull up cheese for you. I just have to know. I'll share. Unless someone else knows, then you can tell me. I think this is my guess, is a slice of cheese is like 1 ounce. $21 grams for one slice. That's not even an ounce. So one slice of cheese is not even an ounce. So you could have 4 slices of cheese a day. That's pretty good. All right. Now we know. Any questions or thoughts before we go? I'm just noticing in the chat that y'all are looking for me last week. Sorry. Thank you, Margaret, for plugging in my vacation on the chat box. Sorry I missed you guys. All right. Well, y'all have a great rest of your day. We got 2 weeks to go. Again, if you have anything you want me to cover in the last 2 weeks, email me or put it in the tracker. I'm reading your trackers, and I'll make sure to get it in there before we close out. All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. See you next week. Bye.